Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, You Can't Handle the Truth. In this video, we will be looking at type-free truth and introducing the last mini-series we're going to be doing and some of the very last videos in this amazingly long series. So, this video and the 4 future videos that it introduces follow directly from the video on axiomatic typed theories of truth. This is type-free truth. That last video was on typed theories of truth. If you have yet to watch that video, it is highly recommended that you do because it goes over a lot of the notation that's going to be used in this video. This video will serve merely as an introduction to the 2 semantic theories and the 2 corresponding axiomatic theories that we will discuss in the next 4 videos. It's going to explain the difference between axiomatic theories and semantic theories again, and it's also going to give the major difference between these 2 theories. It also represents the beginning of the end of this whole long You Can't Handle the Truth series. Following these 5 videos, there will be one more on the 2 truths of Tibet, and the series will finally be over. For anyone that has followed this series the whole way, congratulations. That's amazing. You've been following it for possibly almost a year now, so great work. Keep it up. Now, what is type-free truth? Typed truth restricts what our truth predicate can predicate over in the hopes of resolving the liar's paradox. Basically, you can't say a statement that contains the word truth is true, or at least the same kind of truth. You might be able to call it truth 0, truth 1. Truth 1 can talk about truth 0, but it can't talk about truth 1, and truth 2 can talk about truth 1, and so on and so forth. That's a typed theory of truth. It's axiomatized by Tarski, and we talked about it a lot in the last video. Type-free theories of truth do not restrict what truth can predicate over. They allow for a particular truth predicate to have scope over itself. However, in order to avoid the liar's paradox, we're going to need to put new restrictions on truth. Beyond limiting the scope of our rule, our kind of disquotational rule of truth, that the sentence X being true is materially equivalent to X, or our deflation axiom, we're going to need to restrict one of our other axioms. Let's take a look. So, the unrestricted negation axiom. So we had before a negation axiom that said if you have some particular sentence, so something that doesn't contain truth, you can pull the negation out of the sentence, or in this case, Gödel number, and put it on the outside of truth. And this is going to imply the law of the excluded middle and the law of non-contradiction, which are pretty important for classical logic. The truth iteration axiom. Now, this is not an axiom we had before, but it's going to be important when you look at this in terms of it's a central axiom to kind of a type-free conception of truth. Note that this has truth predicating over truth. Basically, we're saying it's true that snow is white is materially equivalent to it's true that snow is white. This seems very, very intuitive to us because it seems that if we just iterate truth, we can say it's true that X is the same thing as saying it's true that X. So we're going to want something like this iteration axiom in there, and we're going to want something like this kind of classical logic negation axiom. But there's a problem. If we put these 2 together, we're going to find out that they're inconsistent over weak theories of syntax because of the liar's paradox. Imagine that some sentence L states it's not the case that it's true that L. If we instantiate L into the second axiom, this gives us this thing. And then since it's not the case that it's true that L is identical to L, we can replace that statement with L in the premise we just got, giving us it's true that L is materially equivalent to it's true that it's not true that L. Using the first axiom, this allows us to get it's true that L is materially equivalent to it's not the case that it's true that L, which is a contradiction. Remember those square brackets, what they're doing is they're taking everything inside them that's not a number. So L, when we say it's a sentence, it's actually a number that's been Gödelified. Those square brackets are just Gödelifying anything else and throwing them on top of L. If you didn't understand that, go back and watch the video on typed axiomatic theories of truth. Again, the point is that these two axioms are inconsistent. They lead to a contradiction because of the liar's paradox and because we've gotten rid of our typed restriction on truth. So we need to get rid of them, or at least one of them. This means we need to give up one of the axioms. If we give up the first one, it means we'll need to give up some version of the law of the excluded middle and the law of non-contradiction. We can kind of come up with maybe some different version of that, but it's not going to be as strong. If we give up the second, however, we're going to need to find another way to represent iterative truth that's not going to be as strong. Remember, both of these axioms are really, really intuitive. So to give up either of them is going to be a bit problematic. Before we go to the next slide, I want you to think. If it were up to you and you had to get rid of one of those axioms, which way would you lean? Would you give up the negation? Would you give up the iteration axiom? Well, Kripke's theories of truth are going to deny the first one, while revision theories of truth are going to deny the second one. The choice that you make here will decide which type-free theory of truth you support. If you deny the first axiom, you'll find yourself with a Kripke-Feferman theory. If you deny the second one, you'll find yourself with some kind of a revisionist theory axiomized by Friedman and Sheard. Now, there are two ways to look at a particular theory of truth. We can look at it axiomatically through the rules and axioms that are used to explain how the truth predicate functions. We talked about this a bit in the last video, why we wanted to look at things axiomatically because Tarski showed us we can't really define truth. Or semantically by explaining what truth means. As we look at these two theories, we'll first look at the kind of axiomatic versions, just the straight axioms of the theory, and then we'll do another video on the semantic versions, kind of the meaning behind those axioms. So, that means we are left with 4 subjects to cover. Axiomatic and semantic, and denying the negation axiom and denying the iteration axiom. The Kripke-Feferman axiomatic type-free theory of truth, which was put forward by Feferman as an axiomatization of Kripke's theory, is going to fit in axiomatic theory and denies the negation axiom. The Friedman-Sheard axiomatic type-free theory of truth is going to fit in the axiomatic category and denies that iteration axiom. Kripke's semantic theory of truth, of course, is going to fit under the semantic category and with the denies the negation axiom. And finally, revisionist theories of truth is going to fit with semantic and denies the iteration axiom. These are the next 4 subjects we're going to look at it, and the last 4 subjects we are going to look at before we get to the 2 truths of Tibet. It's been a long journey, but thank you for sticking with me. So, up next, we have the Kripke-Feferman axiomatic type-free theory of truth. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.